putting together the band was sort of interesting. That happened catch as catch can. We had a drummer and we had a bass player. That's the heart of a band. And Bob was going to play guitar, of course, and harp, harmonica. And we were driving along one day, along Houston Street, and he saw ahead of us this quite extraordinary looking young lady walking down the street with long black hair, carrying a violin case. It was Scarlett. And he pulls up alongside her in the car, rolls down the window, says hi. She looks in and says hi. And he said, "Do you play that?" And she says, "Yes." And he said, "Would you like to play that with me?" She said, "Yes," you know. And sure enough, she came up to the studio and she played the hell out of it. I mean, she played this sort of gypsy guitar, violin, and she was terrific. And she would move all over the place. She was quite an extraordinary young lady. I liked Scarlett a lot. And so now we had the basis of a band, and there were no arrangements, no nothing. Bob would sit down and start to play these things, and that's one of the things I like about the rough mixes of it. You really hear them just getting into the song, and it was a jazz kind of thing. It was improvisational. People would follow him and do whatever they did, and I think it was hardest for Scarlett, but she managed. She was really terrific at improvising, and they managed to get in there. And he said something to me about whether I needed another singer, and I said I thought it would be a good idea. So he called up Emmylou Harris, and she came into New York, or she was in New York, I don't know which, and she recorded for Columbia also. And she came, and she was just fabulous. She didn't know the songs either. I mean, no one knew the songs, including Bob, really. You know, he had just learned them, and they weren't his songs completely, so he was not familiar with them. But Emmylou would just stand there and look at his face and try to stay with him as he mouthed the words, you know. And it was quite amazing that she was able to do that. She's fantastic and a great harmony singer. The one thing that we did a version of Hurricane with her, but it didn't get on the final album because there were some mistakes on it, factual mistakes, and they were picked up. I've forgotten now by whom, but it turned out that we were saying some things, well, I was saying some things in the lyrics that were not quite accurate, and so they asked me to change them. Well, you know, I went, oh God. I was rehearsal for something at the time, and I just took time out, and I was able to do it. And then the question was what to do about recording it. Well, Ronnie Blakely had come into town, and Bob went into a studio with her and the band, and they re-recorded the song Hurricane. And so that's how the Hurricane got on. And it's one take, boom, and it's on the album just the way it is. And that was the Hurricane that got released.